Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having an amazing day. I wanted to chat today about this theme that has been coming up for me in my life. It's been showing up in a bunch of the stuff that I've been talking about with my clients. I've just been seeing it everywhere, so I figured it's definitely something we should talk about. And this is something that is going to really streamline your process of creation or manifestation, however you want to call it. And this is the idea of really focusing on and working on our self-concept and our own view of basically how our life works out for us. So I'm going to explain that a little bit better. When I say self-concept, what I mean is the way that we perceive ourselves. Basically, like, how do we view ourselves? Do we like ourselves? Do we have confidence in ourselves? Do we, what's the view or the perception that you have of yourself? Like, if you were to describe yourself to somebody or even just to yourself, like, how do you perceive yourself? And then when I said the other part about, how you perceive your life to go, it's like, do you perceive that things are working out for you? Or do you perceive your life as hard and as a challenge and that there's struggles? Or do you just perceive it as kind of just like meh, or is it something that you always have the viewpoint that, like, everything's working out for me, everything's easy for me, things are always happening in my favor, things like that. So this work, like this, shifting your focus to these areas and really asking yourself and reflecting on, okay, so like, what are my perceptions of myself? How do I perceive my life? When you start to address these different areas and work on this, what you'll notice is that as you begin to kind of clean up these beliefs or perceptions, all these different areas of your life are going to start to kind of like shift and elevate as a result of that without you even having to focus on the specific area. So the reason that this kind of tool or way of kind of cleaning up your focus is so helpful is because you don't have to get into like the specifics or the nitty gritty of these different areas of your life where you want things to change. So let's say, just for example, you want to manifest something, a new relationship or something like a change in your current relationship or something like that. Instead of having to go into and focus on, the aspects of the relationship that you want or what you want to change or what you would want in the new one, you can simply leave that alone and just start focusing on your self-concept, and that and different other areas of your life that you're not even thinking about are going to naturally shift and elevate and change to match that. And the reason why this is so helpful is because oftentimes when we start to focus on the specifics of like different areas where we want to see change, what we don't realize is even though we're imagining the way we'd like it to be, and we're focused on, maybe you're writing down all the, you're describing it to yourself in your journal, and you're writing down how you would imagine your life to be in that new relationship or in that new job, or, when your health is the most amazing it's ever been, or whatever these things are for you. Maybe you're writing it down, maybe you're visualizing, maybe you're saying affirmations about that. But oftentimes, not all the time, but oftentimes for many of us, we often also have a lot of resistance to the way that area of our life currently is. So even though we're imagining how we'd like it to be, we're still also kind of awakening the energy of resistance to how it currently is within us. So sometimes what can happen is, let's say you're in a relationship and you would like a certain aspect of the relationship to change. In the process of imagining what you would want, you also start to kind of feel like this tinge of resistance because it's not already there. And you start to feel kind of annoyed about how it currently is. And you have to keep kind of flip-flopping back to like, okay, but how would I want it to be? And it can kind of, what happens is it actually makes it a much harder process for us to create change and to see what we want to, the result we want to see, because every time we start to think about what we want, we also, in the back of our mind, are like, reawakening what we don't want. We're feeling both sides of it. So when you can focus on something that's more general and that has less specific to it, you can start to see a change quicker. And I think it's our tendency to want to focus on the problem, right? Like if there's an area of our life where we want to see change, which by the way, doesn't mean there's a problem, right? Like that there's only a problem if you perceive it as a problem. You could just see it as an area of your life that you're looking to elevate, to expand, to change, to upgrade in some way. But, we tend to want to focus on that area and like narrow in on it and zoom in on it and like really pick at it and focus on it because we think that's what's going to make it change. A lot of us have been conditioned to just have that mentality of like, all right, if there's something which I have to like push and I have to force and I have to really figure it out and do all this work, when in reality, even that energy on its own is awakening an energy of resistance in us, because that energy of like force and push and needing to figure things out, that's an energy, like you can probably just feel it as I'm speaking. It's an energy of like resistance. It doesn't feel good, right? And so if you can start to bring your focus to something that feels a little bit more general, like your self-concept, what you'll notice is even though you're not focused on this particular area over here, it doesn't matter because you're shifting your energy here, and the thing that you're shifting your energy around is something that's going to affect every area of your life. So let me give you an example of this. We're going to go back to this relationship example just to make it easy. Let's say that, you're in a current relationship and you really want, a certain level of connection, or you want to feel even more emotionally connected, or you want to feel even more like safe in the relationship, or seen and heard, or, think about these things that we want from relationships, we want to experience in relationships. Well, take the focus off of the relationship and bring the focus back to like, how do I view myself? Because if I view myself as, and again, it doesn't actually even have to be like, how do I view myself in terms of like, am I worthy of a relationship like that? Do I deserve it? It literally doesn't have to do with the specific thing. It can just be, what's my view of myself? Do I view myself as someone who is like perfect and whole and complete? Do I view myself as someone who is loving life and radiant and joyful and abundant from within? And do I view life as always working with me, always flowing with me? Everything is always working out in my favor. Everything actually is easy for me. Everything feels like I'm just in this flow. I'm in alignment. It's easy. Because think about it. If you start adopting those beliefs, then obviously you're going to have what you desire in the area of your relationship and every other area. It's like, if I were to kind of give you a visual of what I see when I think about it, it's like, here's this central pillar, a cone, and everything else is connected to this central thing. And you don't even have to go into the specifics. You don't have to figure out the nitty gritty. You don't have to go into all the details of all of these different areas. You can just stay here, focus here, and everything will shift and evolve and meld to match that change. So like, if you are paying attention, you're like, okay, you know what? Right now, if I'm honest with myself, how do I view myself? And maybe you don't have like a terrible self-concept, but maybe you're like, okay, do I think I'm perfect? Well, no, not really, because my mind wants to point out all these flaws and all these ways that I'm not perfect. Okay. Do I believe that I am infinitely worthy of everything that I desire? Well, no, because it kind of feels like this, and this. And okay. Do I believe that I am loving and abundant and joyful and at ease? No, because of this. Okay. Here's the key. Do not wait for the outside circumstances to give you a reason to start creating those beliefs. Start creating them for yourself now. Basically, what I'm saying is, don't keep trying to look for proof to prove to you like, okay, now I can start believing this, or now I can start choosing this. No. Start choosing these beliefs now and start flooding your mind with these beliefs now. Start making affirmations about them, doing visualizations about them, watching content and filling your, if you're on social media, fill your newsfeed by, we're kind of in control of our algorithm by what we click on and what we view. So fill your algorithm, your newsfeed with stuff that feels like this, stuff that feels good, stuff that reminds you and helps you get back into that energy, so that you're creating this self-concept that's like really unshakable. Like you are fortified in your knowing that I'm perfection. And when I say that, because I think some people can get tripped up with this, especially a lot of it depends on, how your conditioning growing up. But I feel like a lot of people who I work with, a lot of my clients, we all kind of have this similar experience where, we think, oh, well, that's going to make me like sound conceited or cocky or whatever. Having a good self-concept isn't about any of that. It's like, when I say I'm perfection, I don't mean there's never something I want to improve in myself or that there's not stuff for me to work on. What it means is that I totally love and accept myself exactly as I am. And part of loving yourself is also having the discipline and self-honesty to say, hey, you know what? I love myself. I'm perfect. I'm whole and complete. And I would like to get better in this area. I would like to expand in this area, but not from a place of judging myself or hating myself or making myself feel bad or guilty, from a place of saying, you know what? I love and accept myself. I'm perfect. I'm perfection. And I'm going to work on this. I'm going to put my attention and focus here. I'm going to get better at this. So don't let that hold you off from doing this self-concept work. You're not conceited. You're not cocky. You're not somehow a bad person for starting to have these beliefs about ourselves. It's so crazy to me that so many of us have these ideas that like, it's wrong for us to really love ourselves. It's wrong for us to really see our own perfection. It's wrong for us to like speak really highly of ourselves. It's not, and you need to start doing it now. So start programming yourself with these beliefs like, I am perfection. I am pure love. I am pure joy. I'm amazing. I'm amazing. I love being me. I love being alive as me. Like these are just my examples that I'm coming up with right now on the spot. And these are some things that I say to myself. Start practicing them for yourself. Find ones that feel good for you. And if they feel weird at first, if they feel foreign at first, if they feel like they don't feel true at first, keep going, keep practicing. I promise you it will start to feel more normal. You just have to keep going. If you stop on day 1 or 2 because you're like, I don't believe what I'm actually saying to myself, then you're never going to believe it. How do beliefs get formed? They're just thoughts that we think over time repeatedly, and then they start to become a belief. They weren't a belief to begin with, right? So you just have to practice these thoughts. If they feel weird, uncomfortable, keep going. A really powerful way to do this is like also say them when you're looking at yourself in the mirror. I'm sure many of you guys have heard of doing mirror work, but say these things to yourself. Look into your eyes, say them over and over, and smile to yourself. Feel it in your heart as you're saying these things. Really start to build that foundation within yourself of, I'm perfect. Because guess what? If somebody's perfect, then everything around them is going to reflect that perfection. And of course, we understand, okay, right, the idea of like, oh, nothing's perfect. I hope you guys are understanding what I mean when I say perfect or perfection. It's like that feeling of just, I love myself exactly as I am. And if you feel that way about yourself, then life is going to respond to you in that way as well. You're going to start attracting in situations, scenarios, people, resources, opportunities that reflect that love right back to you. And so even if you already are kind of somebody that's like, I feel like I do kind of love myself or blah, 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 whatever, like you kind of feel like you're already there, go even deeper, because you can always deepen it. You can always expand it. You can always find ways to embody it even more. And maybe you think you are embodying it. However, there's certain areas where it's you kind of dim it down or you're not fully letting yourself feel it. So go into it even deeper. And while you're at it, then even on top of that, start applying these beliefs about like the way life responds to you. So not only am I perfect, am I amazing, am I lovable, am I filled with goodness, life always works out for me. Everything is always unfolding in my favor. Everything is easy for me. Life loves me. Everything around me reflects back to me just how loved and cared for I am. Like, again, I'm just lifting these off the top of my head, but come up with affirmations or statements that feel good for you and start flooding your mind with words and phrases like this. And start, at first, if this is new to you, it's going to feel uncomfortable. So at first, it's just about practicing getting the words out, practicing saying it to yourself, practicing writing it down, practicing looking at yourself in the mirror and saying this stuff. But as it starts to get more comfortable, then start practicing the feeling of it too. Like, how does it feel to know that life is like just unfolding for you? How does it feel to know that you're perfection? How does it feel to know that everything is working out for you and there's nothing more that you have to do or be? Feel that. Feel the relief. Feel the satisfaction. Feel the love. Feel the excitement. Feel the eagerness. Feel the aliveness. Let yourself feel the feelings of it as well. And what you're going to notice is the more that you start to fortify these beliefs and set your focus on these beliefs and really start to feel them and embody them, life is going to mold to you. Life is going, it doesn't matter. You don't have to have, like I said in the beginning, focused on this area, this area, this area. All areas are going to naturally start reflecting those core beliefs back to you. It's all about how do you perceive yourself and how do you perceive how life is going for you, how life is working out for you. If you can start to hone in on these beliefs now, everything else is going to shift to reflect that back to you. Doesn't matter which area it is. It will all start to reflect that back to you. So the good areas are just going to keep getting better. And the areas where you feel like you wanted some improvement, they're going to start to respond to that as well. You don't have to go into all the specifics in order to get the results. And in fact, it's actually better if you don't, because it creates way less resistance. So what I want you to take away from this is start focusing on your self-concept. How do you perceive yourself? Get really honest with yourself. And how do you perceive the way that life is going for you, the way that life is responding to you, and get really honest with yourself. There's nothing wrong with how you've been currently believing it, but there's also an opportunity for you to change it and shift it. And I want to just hone in on this point one more time. Please do not think that you're just going to sit and wait for life to basically give you a reason to start changing your beliefs. You have to choose it now. You can't wait and say like, well, but I have this circumstance and I have this job and I've got this issue in my relationship. How can I start believing that I'm perfect? How can I start believing that life is working out for me? It's not. Like I've got all this, this, and this. You can stay there if you want, but what I'm telling you is that you have to choose it now. I understand that sometimes it may look like everything's not working out for you. It may look like you're not perfect. It may look like you can't love yourself. It may look like this is going wrong in this area, but you can't wait for the things to start going right. You have to start building up the beliefs now if you want things to change. So despite what you've ever believed about yourself before, what you've ever believed about life before, despite what's going on all around you, get quiet with yourself, set aside time for yourself, and start flooding your mind with these beliefs, with these words, with these statements, with content like this, anything that helps you get back into that and start believing it for yourself. Don't wait until something outside of you gives you evidence that you can start doing it, or it proves to you that you are perfect, or basically gives you a permission slip here. Like if you're waiting for the day you're going to get a permission slip that says, okay, here you go. It's time for you to start believing that you're worthy now. Or, okay, it's time for you to start believing life goes right for you now. That's never going to happen. You have to choose it for you. Step into your power and decide now, how do I want to view myself? How do I want to perceive myself? And how do I want to perceive that life is going for me? Decide and start choosing it now. I'm giving you your permission slip. If you need it, here's your permission slip. Start believing it now. Do not wait for the outside, because you're going to be waiting a very, 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 very freaking long time. Okay. Sending you guys so much love. Leave your questions and comments down below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and if you need any extra help with any of this stuff, you can always find my offers in the box below. Okay, sending you guys so much love, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.